Today on Animal Outtakes,
this is the thrill of a lifetime right here.
We need people to care about animals, and the best way to care about animals is to interact with animals in a safe and sustainable way.
We're exploring ways you can get face-to-face with some amazing animals and learn to appreciate them in a whole new way.
Hello and welcome back to Animal Outtakes. From bears to big cats to giraffes and rhinos, we hear a lot about these animals and other exotics like them, but rarely get the opportunity to see them in person. That's where sanctuaries and zoos come in, giving us these opportunities to view the fascinating creatures up close and earn a new appreciation for them. Join us today as we get to see some amazing animals one-on-one.
For Stanley, a hot day is the perfect time for a dip in the pool. His pool, at his home in Wimauma, Florida.
Is this what he does in the afternoon?
Oh, absolutely. He's got brown bears need to stay cool, and so we made sure that Stanley had the ability to take a swim whenever he wants.
Robin Greenwood heads up Elmira's Wildlife Sanctuary, an all-volunteer group that cares for wild and exotic animals like Stanley, who was born captive and raised by hand.
Stanley, I don't know how long he'd been away from his mom, but he was quite habituated to people when we got him. From what I understand, he was handled by people, so I'm guessing that he was taken from his mother at a very young age.
Stanley's story is not unlike the other animals living at Elmira's. From wolves and tigers to lemurs and more, many times these animals have nowhere else to go.
So much has been said about keeping animals in captivity. I mean, you have those that say yes for the sake of the animal because you can take care of them medically and address every need that they have. Then you have other people say no, they should be let go and
and that's just it. It would be nice if that was an option. You know, like we hear, yes, they belong in the wild. Problem is, and it's not so much with brown bears, when they're born in captivity, they're not, you can't ever. They don't know any different, but not only that, but they can never survive in the wild. They haven't had a mother. Stanley hasn't had a mother to teach him how to survive in the wild. We always hear about, the plight of the tiger. And what's happened is, they belong in the wild. Problem is the wild is gone. So yeah, it would be great if there was a wild to go to, but there isn't. So there are more tigers in the United States in captivity than there are in the wild.
Every Saturday and once a month on Sunday, these animals get to visit with the public during tours of the sanctuary. Visitors will learn lots about Stanley and other brown bears like him.
What does he eat in a day's time?
He gets kind of a mixture of, he gets a base diet of good high quality dog food that provides him with the protein and the carbs and the vitamins that he needs, since he's not out in the wild, eating naturally. And then he gets a variety of fruits and vegetables. He gets some fish. He loves salmon.
How much do you think he weighs right now?
Oh, right now, 350. He could easily be 800 pounds when he grows up. It's just going to depend on his, his genetics and how big he gets. I mean, he could be standing up. He could, be about 8 foot tall. He could be about 12 foot tall.
His average lifespan, if he stays well in captivity?
Oh, late 20s, even 30.
The brown bear, is it indigenous to Florida?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He is, but no, actually brown bears are normally found in the north. Alaska, Montana, up there, the Northwest, Oregon.
But that's cold weather.
That is cold weather, and I'm sure Stanley probably would be a lot happier, in Montana. However, places are full all over the country with these animals because, people breed them, because they're cute when they're little, and then they end up with nowhere to go. Okay. Well, this is Elmira, and Elmira's a North American black bear.
As Robin showed us around the rest of the sanctuary, we learned even more tidbits about the majestic creatures that call this home.
This is Ganesh. And Ganesh is, you would call him, I guess, a hybrid. Most of the tigers in captivity, particularly in sanctuaries, aren't really Bengals or Siberians or Sumatrans. They're kind of a mix.
As our tour drew to a close, it was clear to see the good work being done at this sanctuary and the importance of dedicated volunteer groups like this one. Elmira's Wildlife Sanctuary was named after a North American black bear that still calls the sanctuary home. For more information about tours and volunteer opportunities, visit their website, elmiraswildlife.org. Did you know brown bears are incredibly smart?
He's smarter than your average bear, absolutely.
It's believed that bears, like Stanley, are in fact smarter than dogs and possibly as intelligent as primates.
We periodically put different enrichment items in there with him. Usually it's a big log or a tree, maybe some boxes, something that he can tear up and throw in the pool.
Bears have the largest and most complex brains relative to their size for any land mammal. They've been known to share resources with other bears, and they remember where they can find their favorite foods and when during the year they are available. Of course, just like with humans, that intelligence falls on a spectrum and varies from bear to bear. Still ahead.
This really is an emotional experience which you commit to memory, and it's you remember the feel of the hands on you, you remember the touch and so on.
We go one-on-one with the Ringtail Lemurs and meet some new additions. Plus,
You're a little bit of a, well, forget it.
it's snack time for these giraffes. We'll learn more about these amazing animals next.
For thousands of years, we've been humans' best friend. You've been through a lot, and we've been right there with you. A dog is part of the family, a confidant, and a friend who always knows how to get into your heart. So what happens to our beloved companions when we can no longer care for them? This is why we've created Dante's Den, an innovative, state-of-the-art facility that will provide care for up to 100 dogs.
Dante's Den is a community for joyful dogs.
Millions of Americans face uncertainty when planning for the future of beloved pets who may well outlive them. Dante's Den is a charitable organization, so in whatever capacity you can, please lend your support so that we may continue this most wonderful work.
Dante and I would like to thank you for watching and for also opening up your hearts to our wonderful community of joyful dogs.
Learn about the many ways you could become involved by visiting dantesden.org.
It's one thing to get up close to wild and exotic animals through fences, but it's a whole different experience when you're able to actually interact with the animals one-on-one.
He wants to lick your hand, like he thinks you're going to give him a bottle.
And he is licking. Yes, he is licking. Yeah.
That's
And
the
I'm
whole
taking your
idea
nose.
behind Lex Salisbury's Giraffe Ranch
and
in
look at
Dade
those
City.
Big eyes. Oh my goodness. And you have beautiful eyelashes too.
Here, zebras roam the 50-acre wildlife preserve, sharing the grounds with ostrich, warthogs, and access deer, and of course, giraffe.
Here we go. Here we go, baby. Come on. Yeah.
But before we headed out on safari, we got up close with a smaller animal, the Ringtail Lemur.
Yeah. They're so soft.
Aren't
so
they
very
sweet?
soft.
Lemurs are primates, distant cousins to humans, and are only found on the island of Madagascar off the western coast of Africa. Lex doles out some green grapes for us to feed these plucky primates.
It's like you just want to pick them up.
And on the day we arrived, there were a couple of new additions.
Mom's here. So we have 12 with the baby now. See the new babies? They're right at the breast.
Lex tells us those babies were less than 48 hours old.
They were born yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah. We came in yesterday and saw them. And, you know, she's the dominant female in the troop.
Lemurs live in a matriarchal society. meaning the families take their direction from the females, an uncommon trait amongst primates and mammals in general.
And this year she'll probably be the only one that reproduces because she keeps everybody else from reproducing. And the females are actually the bosses in here. The males are very low ranking. And these guys are interesting. They're a primitive primate, so their babies have to hold on like a little louse. The mother doesn't support them with the arm. And this thing will jump 15 feet and the babies have to hold on for dear life. It's really pretty amazing.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at that.
Isn't that terrific? See them nursing and holding on for dear life? They've got little black and white tails. Isn't that terrific? And these babies will stay on the breast until they get a little bit more ambulatory, and then they go to the back. They're just terrific animals.
Oh my goodness, they're
they're polite.
so gentle.
They're polite, aren't they?
And they kind of paw you a little bit, but then they leave.
Yeah, they put their little healing hands upon you.
Yeah.
Ringtail lemurs are an endangered species, and Lex stresses it's encounters like this that can help save them from extinction.
This really is an emotional experience which you commit to memory, and you remember the feel of the hands on you, you remember the touch and so on, and it's a much better way to learn than being lectured in the classroom.
Coming up next,
This is the thrill of a lifetime right here.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other place you can do this that I know of.
hand-feeding rhinoceros? Well, we did it, and you can too. We'll tell you how it's possible when Animal Outtakes returns.
Critical vet care is guided by the belief that companion animals deserve state-of-the-art medical care and a kind and comforting environment. The courage of our patients, the loyalty of their human families, and the devotion of our referral veterinarians inspire our vision. It is sustained by the contributions of our compassionate, knowledgeable, and dedicated staff, and built upon a strong tradition of providing excellent healthcare for animals. To learn more, visit us online at www.criticalvetcare.com.
The ringtail lemurs are very social, living in groups called troops, some with as many as 30 members. These primates move around on all fours, but unlike some of their cousins, they cannot grip with their tail. The ringtail lemur stands out from other species of lemurs because they spend a lot of time on the ground. Most other lemurs you'll find jumping from branch to branch high in the forest canopies. There are more than 50 species and twice as many subspecies of lemurs in the world, and they all call Madagascar home. Most of them are either threatened or endangered because of the destruction of the forests that they call home.
And now it's time for the furry and famous Animal Outtakes VIP.
This is Flash. Flash is a miniature golden doodle. He's 5 years old. Well, I have to say, I was not really desperate for a dog myself, just because I'm busy. My son, Riker, was desperate for a brother. The brother didn't work, so we got a dog instead. So he's got a little baby brother right here. I would say it was probably my best mommy day ever when I presented him to Riker at the soccer game as a surprise when he was just a little 2-pound puppy. And he's supposed to be Riker's dog, but you know, we're a tag team. We do both. We both give him lots of loving, but I'm the one that cleans up and feeds him, I would say. He's a very active little boy. He's a great partner for Riker because he loves balls. So Riker could throw him the ball and he'll run and chase the ball, and he's very appropriately named Flash because he's really quick. Tennis ball is his favorite. He usually stays home in the day. All my neighbors love him, so sometimes they'll come and get him during the day, or he'll spend the night if we're out of town with my next door neighbors. He's just neighborhood dog. Everybody loves him. Then at night he runs around. He actually waits for us to go to bed, and then he snuggles under my bed and scoots along the floor right under me and sleeps. He likes the cool, we have hardwood floors, and I think he likes the cool floors. That's the only place I think he's not allowed to come is in my bed, so. He's independent and, you know, he's sweet and lovable. Gives me lots of extra love, and he loves cheese, C-H-E-E-S-E, and any kind of treats, but cheese is his favorite. Cheese and scrambled eggs, I think, are his favorite. He's been the best addition to our family. He's been amazing, and I love him to death. He's great, and he's perfect for us, you know? I mean, he just worked out perfectly for us. My son's getting older now, preteen, so I don't get as much snuggle time with him. So now I have my dog, Flash.
After saying goodbye to the lemurs, it was time to load up the truck and head out on the ranch. But Giraffe Ranch owner Lex Salisbury gives us a quick crash course on what we're going to see first.
We have a lot of hoofed mammals here, and hoofed mammals have 3 different types of headgear. You're going to see animals that have these. What are those?
Well, they look like antlers.
Antlers, exactly. And what do you think antlers are made of?
It's a bone-like
It's
material.
bone, yeah, it's exactly right. So you're going to see, this is from an Asian deer called chital, or axis deer, from the Indian subcontinent. We have a herd of about 25 of those. Deer have antlers. Now, what does that feel like? What do you think that is?
It's hollow, I can feel.
And it's a completely different substance. It's like your fingernails, isn't it? It's the same stuff as your fingernails. It's a protein called keratin, and your hair. And these are horns. And the animals you're going to see with horns today are rhino and antelope and cattle. So those are the 2 main types of headgear. The third type is this. This is called an ossicone, and this is neither a horn nor an antler. And what do you think that's from?
That's got to be from a giraffe.
Giraffe, yeah.
Both male and female giraffes have ossicones, which start out as cartilage, but then harden over time.
Through a process called osteogenesis, they convert from cartilage to bone and then fuse to the skull. So that's why this.
And what is their purpose, Lex?
Well, that protects, like a helmet on our head. It protects their head. The males do something called necking, where they whack each other with these things, and that protects their brain as well.
After our crash course in biology, we climbed aboard and ventured into the fields, where we got up close with zebra, ostrich, and deer. But it was the giraffe that we were most eager to see.
Is they have 4 stomachs like a cow, and they disgorge their stomach contents and then chew it again and then swallow it back down. And that makes them really efficient, much more efficient than a horse or a rhino or a tapir that have 1 stomach.
Always prepared, Lex handed over some cabbage to feed these towering animals.
Now, is this part of their daily regimen, or is this considered a treat?
Yeah, this is considered a treat and socialization. And what they eat mostly is what's under that shade structure over there. See that Tifton 44? That's a Bermuda grass. And they eat about 4% of their body weight a day. They get that, and then they get 16% protein pellet, and they get beet pulp.
The giraffe have many unique features. No 2 giraffes have the same coat pattern. It's as personal as a person's fingerprint.
Giraffe are really interesting. They have the second biggest eye for any animal their size on the planet. See how big that eye is?
Sure is.
And that's why people love giraffes so much. They have this huge eye and these huge eye lashes.
And while they've got some pretty big teeth, that's not the most interesting thing in their mouths.
Most animals have pink tongues. These guys have blue-black tongues, and they're 18 inches long, as you know. Now, so the other weird thing about giraffes is they sleep 5 to 30 minutes a day.
That's it.
That's it. So I've worked with almost every animal you can work with, and professionally working in zoos for 35 years, and I've never met an animal that sleeps less than a giraffe.
After giving the giraffe a light snack, it was time to move on to our next stop, the Indian rhino.
Okay, Marcia, pretend like you're washing your Mercedes, okay? There you go.
Okay.
And everywhere they're dry, go ahead and get them wet. Now these are about 9 and 10 years old, named Collie and Java.
Okay,
And
sweetie.
this guy was born in Montgomery Zoo in Alabama, and this one was born in Escondido, California at the Safari Park in San Diego. Rhino have a bad reputation for being grumpy and so on, and they're actually not. They have terrible eyesight, and rhino, if they're startled, they will run after things and hit you with their nose, you know. But they're not, if they know the program, they're very laid back. Like
There's not many teeth, but what he does have a
he's
pretty
got
doggone
He's
big.
got a couple of teeth, and these males, when they get older, they bite other males with those teeth. And then you can tell a browsing rhino by this prehensile lip. See that finger on there? That's an adaptation for grabbing browse or leaves, and see how they grab that piece of cabbage and pull it into the mouth? It's the same adaptation as the tip of the trunk on an Asian elephant.
What is the average weight?
You know, these are maybe 3,500, 4,000 pounds now, and they'll get bigger than this. And these are two of about 3,300 in the world. When I started working with these guys back in 90 or so, 1990, there I think were 1,200 of these in the world. Now there's 3,300. So they're actually doing fairly well, and mostly in Assam, in India, but they're also found in Nepal and Bangladesh.
As we fed and bathed these rhinos, it was clear that this was certainly a one-of-a-kind experience.
This is the thrill of a lifetime right here.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other place you can do this that I know of.
All right.
Where you can sort of hose them down and feed them like this. And feel that horn.
The Giraffe Ranch in Dade City is open by reservation only. Safari tours are available by vehicle, Segway, or by Camelback. If you would like more information or to schedule a visit, go online to girafferanch.com. A group of giraffes is called a tower, consisting of 12 to 15 animals, and they are so social that they don't claim territories. But why would nature create an animal that's 18 feet tall, has fantastic eyesight, and barely sleeps?
Well, they're paranoid because everything wants to kill them, and they're babies, and actually half of their babies die in the first 2 years in the wild. So these guys are like a sentinel. They have an 18-foot, they can see predators before anybody else. They have good nocturnal vision. They're like a person up in a fire tower with night vision goggles that never goes to sleep. Now this, giraffe, you know, there's fight or flight with animals that are predated by other animals, and these animals obviously prefer to flee. They prefer to see where the danger is and run away. But if they have to kick, they will kick forward, and this is the tibia. This is the leg bone on us from here to here. This is where the knee articulates, and they can kick your head off. They can kick a lion's head off with that bone. Isn't that incredibly heavy?
That is very heavy.
Yeah, so they
I wouldn't want to be in the way of this.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with more Animal Outtakes.
If taking your pet to the veterinarian creates conflicts in your busy schedule, Rosemary Vet may be a perfect solution. We are open 7 days a week, providing complete veterinary care during convenient evening and weekend hours to accommodate you and your pet. Rosemary Vet is located in downtown Sarasota in the trendy Rosemary District at 650 Central Avenue, Unit 2. To learn more, visit us at www.rosemaryvet.com.
Indian rhinos only have one horn, unlike their African cousins, but both species are known for their keen hearing and excellent sense of smell. And don't let their size fool you. These massive creatures can run up to 30 miles per hour and can change direction quickly, something we witnessed later on our safari.
Now look at the rhino are feeling spunky, look. Yeah, they're sparring. They're like two dogs, you know, playing with each other. And this is something they do to establish dominance. And see the one on the biggest one is the dominant one. And see how it's picking up the other one? They feel so good after the bath, you know, after the shower you gave them.
That's it for this episode of Animal Outtakes. You can read about all the exotic animals we saw today in books. But there's something to be said about looking them in the eye, feeling their gentle touch, and hearing the sounds that they make. We hope we have inspired you to take your own safari and learn about these and other amazing animals. Join us again next week for another outstanding animal adventure. And they can move. Oh, hi. Hi.
Oh, he's back again.
Hi, sweetheart.
He likes it on his
bottoms
of his feet. Look at this.
Oh, there's comfort.
Isn't that cool? See very well.
Up close and personal.